Sarah manages to control the Lucas situation. She tells him that she hasn't even known Juan for a week. How will she be in love with him? And to cut it all, Juan is her brother. Lucas tells her that it only takes a few minutes to fall in love. Sarah tells him that she isn't ready to fall in love. Lucas understands that she fears getting hurt. They end their conversation with Lucas telling her to relax. He's just concerned as a brother, and she tells him that he's very knowledgeable despite being the youngest. Cornelio is still with Beatrice, who is pinning all the blame to him. She says that he was the one who made her fall in Pedro's arms by being drunk and beating her up. Cornelio gets mad and leaves the house to go handle Pedro man to man. Rosa hopes that Prospero will be a man in this situation, since they cannot allow someone to make fun of their precious daughter. Mateo and Simon engage in a small talk where Simon opens up about kissing Julieta, and he doesn't know what will happen if Juan finds out. He feels like he needs to move out of the ranch since he doesn't want to stay there anymore. Rosa confronts Juan for having cancelled the wedding with her daughter. Things get a little bit heated up as Rosa tries to attack Sarah for being a husband snatcher. Sarah tells her to keep her out of her mouth and gossip, and Deborah also tells her to respect her daughter. Juan tells Rosa that he wants to talk to Prospero alone. She's not invited. Simon asks Mateo if Julieta loves him back and what really happened, because he feels that he is doing wrong to Juan, who has sacrificed a lot for them and the family. Simon tells Mateo to forget about Julieta. Mateo asks how can he do that. He asks him how he can forget about Paloma. Simon tells him that he's also going to do that because he found out something about her mother and he has decided to break up with her. Mateo doesn't really understand why Simon is with so much pain for their dad being a cheater, yet their mom never complained and they had a good life. Salvador visits Adela in her shop and offers her idle niece called Dulce to work for her. Adela feels that she cannot make enough money to pay a worker, but to her surprise she will work for free. Adela accepts and Dulce starts to work. Adela gives Salvador the news about her sick dad and also tells him about Rosa's threat to speak with the owner of the premise, that's Don Paquito. Salvador promises to talk to him too and all will be well. Adela is grateful. Simone remembers the damage that Deborah did to his family and how she made Catalina suffer. For this reason he will prevent Sarah from collecting her part of the inheritance. He remembers when Deborah and Catalina had word confrontation and Deborah kept calling Catalina an infertile woman who couldn't give Severiano children. She tells her that she is the one who is supposed to be Severiano's wife because she gave him his only biological child. Later Catalina faints and Deborah smiles instead of giving the help needed. Juan and Prospero have a long discussion where Juan explains to him that Julieta's jealous behavior is not healthy for their relationship, therefore he cannot stand it. Prospero tells him that maybe he just didn't love his daughter and that's why he decided to hurt her. Juan tells him to relax, he's just postponing the wedding. Prospero wants the truth about the matter. He's afraid his daughter will have to put up with humiliation in town just because Juan made a decision. Juan tells him that the decision will be made by him and Julieta and asks him to leave. Pedro keeps doing his dark business deals. Deborah gets mad after learning about what Julieta did to Sarah's room, but anyway Sarah understands what she's feeling and therefore she doesn't want grudges. Deborah asks if Sarah feels something for Juan and she denies that she was the cause of the breakup. Meanwhile downstairs a mad Cornelio is here shouting and looking for Pedro to clear things up. He is ready to kill him. Pedro arrives at the hacienda and he gets a call from Beatrice telling him that Cornelio knows the truth about them. Pedro laughs saying she just saved him from telling Cornelio the truth. Agustin tells Salvador that he knew about Severiano and his wife but he just kept quiet because he doesn't like getting involved in people's businesses like Niwanj. Salvador tells him that Paloma now knows the truth and she's suffering for it. Deborah thinks that it is pathetic how a son of a servant is yelling at one of the ranch owners. Juan tells her that Modesto is not a servant. Anyway Pedro comes in and grabs the Cornelio by his neck telling him to mind his manners. Why is he shouting at him in his house? Rosa and Prospero get home and she's not impressed on how he handled the situation. She thinks that he should have forced him to fulfill his promise. Prospero thinks that Julieta did something that Juan wasn't willing to tell him. Julieta comes in and Prospero concludes that they'll have to deal with their devils themselves. People manage to save Cornelio from Pedro's grip. He asks him why he did it, yet they were brothers. Juan asks what happened and Cornelio spills the beans to everyone that Pedro and Beatriz were lovers.